Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take complex topics and, well, make them make sense.
Yeah, the goal is always to cut through the noise.
Exactly. We sift through the sources, pull out the really crucial stuff so you get a solid handle on things you're curious about fast.
And today, it looks like we're jumping into the octagon, metaphorically speaking.
We are. Mixed martial arts, MMA.
A big topic. And our main source today is Mixed Martial Arts Unleashed, Mastering the Most Effective Moves for Victory.
Right. By Mickey Dimic, two-time world champ, and Christopher Miller. Came out in 2009, so it's a snapshot from that era.
Yeah, it gives a particular perspective from just over a decade ago.
Okay, so what's the gist of this book? What were they trying to do?
Well, it seems like two main things. First, give fighters, practical skills, strategies to actually win.
Makes sense.
And second, help fans understand what they're seeing, the techniques, the strategy behind it all.
So it's not just random brawling.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
They really stress focusing on the most effective stuff, things specific to MMA as a sport.
Okay, so for everyone listening, think of this as your shortcut. We're boiling down what these experts thought was key back in '09.
History, training, competition. The important bits.
We'll pull out the core ideas, maybe some surprising facts, so you feel properly informed without getting bogged down.
Exactly. We're aiming for that solid understanding. Let's dive in.
All right, MMA. It feels modern, but this book starts way back, doesn't it? With the history. What jumped out at you there?
Well, what's really interesting is their argument that mixed martial arts isn't like a totally new invention.
Oh, so?
They point out that lots of traditional styles, even ones known for striking, like karate, they often have grappling mixed in.
Right, and vice versa, like BJJ or judo using some strikes.
Exactly. And some arts, like Aikido, apparently always blended them more evenly. The lines were blurrier than maybe we think.
That makes sense. A complete fighter would need different tools. The book mentions cross-training too, right? Even in single disciplines.
Yeah, athletes trying to fill the gaps in their main style, which kind of leads into the term martial arts itself.
Okay.
The book says it translates Budo from Japanese. Before that, we mostly said combat sport for boxing, wrestling, and military art for, like, shooting. Martial art became this middle ground discipline, martial, but not purely military or just a sport. Think judo, karate.
Gotcha. So where does the mixed part really kick in? UFC, Pride, that era.
Yeah, those style versus style fights really highlighted it. But it wasn't just about, karate guy versus sumo guy.
He was about combining skills within the fight.
Exactly. The meaning sort of evolved. Now, mixed means blending striking, ground control, submissions, all seamlessly.
Like the book says, a flying knee followed by an arm lock. That's MMA.
You got it. It really looks mixed now.
Okay, this is where it gets wild for me. The book talks about really old MMA-like stuff. Wrestlers versus boxers way back when.
Oh, yeah. Even Alexander the Great apparently pitted a soldier against an MMA-type guy. The MMA guy won, supposedly.
No way.
But the first recorded event, the one we know about for sure, pancration.
Pancration in the Olympics. Ancient Greece.
Yep. 648 BC, ancient Olympics.
Wow. Okay, what were the rules? Or was it just go?
Pretty much. Very few rules. No eye gouging, no biting.
Bite was out. Yeah.
And no tearing the groin. But other than that, pretty much anything went. No rounds. Super popular.
Sounds brutal.
Sure.
Did people die?
Well, the book mentions only one recorded death in like 1,000 years of Olympic pancration.
Just one. And that's the famous story, isn't it? The
Is
way
it?
or is it?
Yeah.
That's the one. Crazy story. He's getting choked out, right? Rear naked choke.
Yeah.
But he also has his opponent in a leg lock. He refuses to tap, convinced the leg lock will work.
Oh, man.
He dies from the choke, but as he goes limp, his body shifts. The leg lock tightens.
And the other guy taps.
The other guy taps, thinking his leg's about to break. So Orichin, already dead, is declared the winner.
That is absolutely insane. Posthumous victory by leg lock.
You couldn't write it better.
So the Romans liked this stuff too. Did they copy pancration?
They did. They called it pancratium.
Yeah.
And they loved it. Spread it all over the Roman Empire.
So huge reach. Yeah, the book says it reached like 25% of the world population then. It was this unifying, spectacular sport.
And it wasn't like gladiators, right?
Right.
Not slaves forced to fight.
No, totally different vibe. Pancration was respected, for free citizens, no stigma, actually seen as kind of elite, cultured even.
Really?
Yeah, these athletes got perks exempt from military service. They had guilds, taught as professors, got honors, seen as brave, dedicated.
Wow.
The book even says women participated. And it calls the Roman age the greatest time for MMA until, like, now.
That's a huge claim.
Yeah.
What were the techniques like? Did they have arm bars and stuff back then?
The artwork shows it, mosaics with finishes using chokes, joint locks, and strikes all at the same time.
Seriously?
Yeah, and this writer, Philostratus, described all sorts of stuff. Weird falls, using grips while falling, strangling, leg locks, arm twists, strikes, jumping attacks.
So basically modern MMA minus the cage.
Pretty much. Only biting and gouging were banned. You could submit by voice, raising a finger, or tapping out. And get this, sometimes they'd ban grappling just to force kickboxing matches.
Huh. So the striker versus grappler debate is ancient history too.
Seems like it. But eventually, Rome got more into weapons, chariots, gladiators.
Pancratium faded a bit.
Yeah, but the idea didn't vanish. The book suggests medieval tournaments with all the different weapons, horses, grappling. That was kind of an extension of the mixed idea.
Right. Total combat.
Yeah.
And wrestling. That's a
Yeah.
constant, isn't it? Everywhere.
Absolutely. The book nails it. Wrestling is key for clinch control in MMA, and it's been in almost every culture.
Why? Just good preparation for war.
Pretty much. Get your enemy on the ground, you've got a massive advantage. That's the core idea.
Whether you had to touch their back to the ground or just get them down.
Right, the rules varied, but the goal was top position. Same logic applies in MMA because of strikes. You don't want to be on your back getting hit.
Were submissions part of ancient wrestling? Or just takedowns?
Oh, submissions were definitely allowed in Greek and Roman wrestling. And here's a wild one. Emperor Nero. Apparently he committed suicide by having his wrestling instructor choke him out.
With a rear naked choke.
Sounds exactly like it from the description. A direct historical link to an MMA technique. Crazy.
Mind blown. And wrestling pops up in old stories too, like Beowulf.
Yes. Beowulf is all about wrestling being crucial. He beats Grendel with what sounds like a nasty arm lock, rips his arm off.
Brutal.
And his fight with Grendel's mom, throws, ground fighting. It's all in there.
No.
The book also mentions a Byzantine wrestler, Buzes, who beat Persian enemies in duels that went from horseback to the ground. Shows how vital wrestling was in actual warfare. Even Chinese emperors picked bodyguards based on wrestling wins.
Okay, wrestling. Foundational. Got it. What about striking? Boxing or pugilatio?
Yeah, the Romans loved that too. They saw the connection to armed combat. And interestingly, the book says modern MMA with gloves is maybe as close to ancient pugilatio as it is to pancratio.
Because pancratium was bare knuckle, but pugilatio sometimes used hand wraps.
Exactly. Pancrasis sometimes used boxing thongs. Striking was definitely part of pancratium.
And ancient boxing wasn't just headhunting like today.
Nope. No illegal targets, really. Groin shots were common, apparently often ended fights. That's almost like a submission by injury.
Right.
Victory came from exhaustion, beating someone up badly, or the ref stopping it. Boxers trained gladiators, Roman soldiers.
It stayed popular, even in the Middle Ages.
Surprisingly, yeah, even priests taught boxing sometimes.
Priests teaching boxing. Okay. But medieval boxing wasn't. Well, Queensberry rules, was it?
Not even close. That's a key point. Medieval boxing often allowed holds, throws, ground strikes, even biting sometimes. It was much more like M&A.
So this theme keeps coming back, striking and grappling always intertwined.
Yeah.
The book mentions some other extreme regional styles too.
Briefly, yeah. Burmese Lethwei, traditionally almost no rules. Headbutts, biting may be okay. Fights could be a draw if someone refused to quit even facing death. And Muay Thai, striking with everything. Clinch grappling for throws, no off-limit targets, kicks aimed at breaking the knee.
Ouch.
Fists wrapped in rope, sometimes with sharp stuff added. But usually no ground fighting.
Man.
Yeah.
These historical examples really show how long we've been figuring out unarmed combat. Okay, let's shift gears. Foundational training stuff. What does the book say is essential to start?
First thing, stretching. Flexibility is huge. Keeps you supple, helps avoid injuries. They give examples for different body parts.
Makes sense. Basic maintenance. What else?
Some isometric stuff. Deep stances like horse stance, front stance, but more for conditioning, stability, not actual fighting stances. Deep lunges too. Similar mechanics to fighting moves.
Building that strong, flexible base. And then the MMA basics. Turn your body into weapons.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And it pulls from principles of war. Surprise. Catching your opponent off guard.
So it's not just knowing moves, it's the timing.
Exactly. Most fighters know the techniques. It's when and how you use them unexpectedly that counts. Preparing surprises is key. And underlying all that, stamina. Good cardio is like your first line of defense. The book hammers this home. Stamina might be the single most critical thing.
More than skill, even.
Potentially, yeah. If you gas out, your skills don't matter much.
Yeah.
You're vulnerable.
Okay, stamina is king, then the stance. You mentioned it's not super fixed.
Right, it changes constantly in a fight. But generally, feet shoulder width or wider, 1 foot forward, front foot angled in maybe 30 degrees, back foot angled out a bit more, feels natural, allows movement.
And on the balls of the feet.
Yeah, got to be springy, ready to move, kind of like a fencer's stance, they say.
Orthodox is left foot forward for righties, right? But southpaw's an option.
Is one better?
Well, common wisdom is stronger side back for power punches. But some like their more dexterous side forward for grappling control. Ideally.
Be good at both.
Exactly. Ambidextrous fighting is a huge advantage. Hand position is important too, for defense and offense.
Okay, let's talk hitting. Striking techniques, punches first. The cross. Yep, rear hand, usually the right in orthodox. Straight punch, palm and down. Shoulder rotation, hip twist, bit of a lunge. Feel like you're grinding your back foot.
Okay.
Can even lift the back foot. That's kind of the start of a Superman punch if you go airborne. Aim for the face, jaw, torso. Speed and accuracy are key.
And the jab. Lead hand.
Lead hand, yeah. Quick snaps out and back, used to measure distance, set things up. Can also be a jumping Superman jab.
Inside the opponent's guard, though.
Stand wide, punch with both fists.
Right. And closer range.
Oh.
Hooks and uppercuts.
Hooks for closer targets. Elbow comes up, forearm kind of parallel to the ground, pivot the same side, foot, hip, shoulder. Elbow bend around 45 degrees. Shrug the shoulder for defense. Palm doesn't have to be down.
Okay. Uppercut.
Punch goes straight up from below. Bend the knees, explode up with the fist, head or body. Keep that other hand up guarding.
Always protect yourself.
Ooh.
Now, elbows and knees, nasty, close-range stuff.
Elbow uses the pointy part, basically. Aimed at the head, usually. Works great in grappling, can combine with an overhook. Good from the clinch. Or against someone turtled up. Flying elbows, too.
And knees. The book calls them the most powerful weapon.
Yeah, compares the force to a truck hitting you. Double overhook clinch, then repeated knees to the face. Classic, brutal. Also target ribs, stomach, legs. Flying knee is another dynamic option.
Attacks. Roundhouse, jab kick, push kick. Let's start with the roundhouse.
Shin is the main weapon usually. Power comes from twisting the hips and pivoting on the supporting foot. There's an angled version, triangle kick, that's quicker. Key thing, bring the foot straight to the target. Don't lift the knee way up first, that telegraphs it.
Right, gives them time to block or counter targets.
Opponent's legs, thigh, knee area, very common. Head or face if it's safe. Torso is risky, might get your kick caught.
Back leg roundhouse, more powerful.
Generally, yeah. Got to rotate that supporting foot fully in the direction of the kick. They suggest drilling, alternating back leg roundhouse, front leg jab kick.
What about on the ground? Can you kick?
Yeah, if you're in a loose guard, maybe a heel kick to the head or face is possible.
Okay. Jab kick and push kick sound similar. Stomach? Thighs?
Pretty similar targets. Jab kick is front leg, ball, or heel, strikes out. Again, don't telegraph with the knee lift first. Rotate the hip forward for power and reach, then set the foot back down.
And push kick.
Front leg, straight up, push with ball or heel. Same targets, same warning about telegraphing. Hip rotation helps power. You can do a rear leg push kick for more reach, but it's slower. Usually a rear leg roundhouse is preferred for power from the back leg.
Got it. So tons of ways to strike. How do you not get hit? Defense.
Blocks and parries. Similar ideas to bare knuckle boxing, karate, kung fu. Think of your forearms like blades parry, block, even chop at incoming strikes.
Exactly.
Like if they throw a right punch to the outside, you might parry it inwards with your left forearm.
Makes sense. Active defense. Okay, striking covered. Now, throws and takedowns. This is where the wrestling really comes in.
Big time. They start with the double leg. Simple, effective. Hug both legs at the knees, drive through. Works well because fighters often focus on staying upright for striking.
Downside.
Often lands you in their guard, which you then have to deal with.
And the defense is the sprawl.
Yep. Shoot your legs back, drop your chest, make yourself heavy and wide, hard to lift. That's the core of sprawl and brawl style. Sprawl can also be a counter to their double leg attempt.
Okay, single leg takedown. Good if they lift a leg, like after a kick.
Exactly. Hook one leg, push them backward, lots of grips over under, ankle knee, one arm, two arms. Can even use your free leg to kick out their other leg.
Lots of throws, too. Back throw, hip throw, thigh throw, shoulder throw.
Yeah.
It sounds like judo.
Very similar concepts. Back throw, grip waist body, lift, throw over your back, keep the grip. Sweeping hip throw adds a hip bump to off-balance them more. Inner thigh throw, Foot inside their leg, use your hip to lift them. Can even do it dropping to your knees. Shoulder throw. Trap their armpit, throw them over your shoulder. Need your foot outside theirs.
What about the winding throw and hook throws? More specialized.
Winding throw is like a shoulder throw, but you trap their upper arm deeper and roll with it. Good escape from turtle if they wrap you up and you can trap an arm. Hook throws. Use your leg to hook theirs and trip throw them. 8 variations mentioned. Same side outer hook is good. Lands you outside their guard.
Foot sweeps and push downs. More opportunistic.
Foot sweeps are quick trips. Need speed. If it fails, follow up with a throw the other way while they're off balance. Push down throw is for when they're already bending over, tired, stumbled, bad takedown attempt. Just help them on their way down.
Okay, so you got them down, now the ground game. Pins and escapes. This seems critical.
Absolutely. Top position is almost always better. More chances to strike, submit. Bottom position, only good if you've got a surefire submission ready.
So from top, the goal is...
Strike the head, ribs, maintain the pin. From bottom, escape or submit.
How do you escape pins generally?
Spin your body, find the path of least resistance, create space, push off, quick dolts, wait for them to shift pressure. Use elbows, knees, hips, head to post. Arch your back, thrust your hips. Get something hand, knee, elbow between you and them. Shrimping the hip escape is fundamental, then they cover specifics for each pin.
Starting with the guard. That's huge in BJJ and MMA ground fighting, right?
Foundational. Bottom fighter uses legs to control the top guy. Closed guard, legs locked around the waist. Open guard, feet, knees used to create distance, angles.
But it's tough from the bottom.
Against a skilled grappler, yeah. Hard to get sweeps or subs. You can't just stand up easily. You're defending strikes, getting tired. Top position is usually preferred.
So even good takedowns often lead here. You need skills in the guard.
Definitely. Can be draining for both fighters. Book calls it the second most important position after the clinch.
Techniques they mention? Passing the guard.
Knee through pass, hop over pass, scoop pass, different ways for the top person to get past the leg.
Sweeps from the bottom.
Scissor sweep, elevator sweep, butterfly guard, leading to a butterfly elevator sweep, ways for the bottom person to reverse position and get on top.
And getting back up.
Yeah, using their attempts to pass your guard as an opportunity to stand.
Okay. Side mount and full mount.
Yeah.
Dominant positions, right?
Very. Side mount, knee beside their torso, other foot posted, chest on chest pressure. Good for knees, elbows, hammer fists. Best sub they mention is the Americana arm lock. Very stable pin, often leads to full mount.
How do you get it?
Often after passing the guard, bring your knee across their thigh.
And full mount. Straddling them.
Yes, straddling their waist or chest, punch their face, write out their attempts to buck you off.
How do they escape mount?
Common one. Trap an ankle with your heel lip, make sure their hand isn't posted, then bridge and roll. Usually ends you up in their guard, which is way better than being mounted.
Mount is better than side mount, but risky to get.
Yeah, trying to pass straight to mount can get you caught in half guard sometimes. Which side you pass to often depends on feel, how they react. Drilling transitions is key.
Back control. Sounds bad for the person whose back is taken.
It is. Hooks in around the hips. Main threat. Rear naked choke. Huge danger.
Variations.
Face down might be better for striking their head. Face up might make it easier to keep hooks in.
Escapes.
Tuck chin, peel their hands off, create space to turn into them, into guard, or stand up. Shoulder throw winding throw can work if they have an arm over under your shoulder. Same escape as RNC if your legs are trapped.
Last pin. North-south? Less common, maybe?
A bit less common. You're facing their head, chest on chest, controlling their arms. Pressure makes breathing hard. Hammer fists are an option. Escape is basically bridge and roll.
Okay, wow. Techniques covered from feet to floor. Now, tactics and strategy. The mental game.
Exactly. Starts with upright wrestling the clinch. So important. Maintain your balance, break theirs. That lets you knee, elbow, punch, throw, and stop them doing it to you.
So clinch control dictates a lot.
The book argues it controls the whole fight, really. It's the base camp. From there, you expand to striking, groundwork. Solid clinch skills are essential. They recommend specific drills for it.
Then they look at strategy from specific positions, like full mount. We know how to get there, escape it, now how to use it.
Right. Maintaining mount base, weight distribution, stopping escapes, controlling hips, arms, delivering effective strikes, setting up submissions. They have a drill for practicing all that from mount.
And fighting through the guard, from top and bottom.
From top, you have the advantage, but bottom has options stall, defend, sweep, submit. They credit the Gracies with really understanding the guard's importance for MMA ground fighting from their Vale Tudo days.
Ah, so BJJ really developed around the guard.
Yeah. Guard is the on-guard position for ground fighting, like the clinch for standing or the stance in boxing.
Yeah.
BJJ aims pass guard to mount top or sweep stand-up bottle.
But top is still usually better.
Generally preferred, yeah. So you need wrestling to get top position first. MMA and BJJ both often have that clinch battle that decides who starts on top in the guard. Drills focus on striking in guard, passing, subs from guard.
This next point feels huge, given the earlier emphasis on stamina. Tiring out your opponent.
Crucial. Stamina wins fights. Less skilled guy with great stamina can beat a skilled guy who gasses out.
How do you tire them out? Just wait for them to punch themselves out?
Not really. It's more about forcing them to react constantly, making them work harder, especially defensively. Taking the initiative is usually less tiring than constantly reacting.
Reacting uses more energy.
Sharper, faster movements, yeah, more draining. So attack at a pace that forces them to react and then mess with the rhythm.
Rhythm, like musicality in fighting. That sounds kind of out there.
It does, but it's fascinating. The idea is to attack with a certain rhythm, get them used to it, then throw something out of sync, unexpected timing.
Like a pattern interrupt.
Exactly. They even suggest a basic rhythm like long, short pause. Develop multiple rhythms so you're unpredictable.
And recognize their rhythm.
Yeah, to time your defense, your counters, hit them in their pauses. They call it a dueling banjo situation if both fighters get it. Musical sense helps.
How do you train that?
Sparring while focusing on tempo. They even suggest training with music, different BPMs for different body types. Slower for bigger guys, faster for smaller. Use it as an anchor.
Wow. Okay.
Eventually, you internalize it. Even suggest playing music as a hobby helps. Each strike might even have its own optimal rhythm.
Mind blown again.
Yep.
Rhythm and stamina leads right into sparring, right? Putting it all together.
Yep. Two main types. Isolated sparring, one phase, like just striking or just grappling, and full sparring, like a real MMA fight, but usually lighter contact.
Why isolated?
Crucial to avoid being jack of all trades, master of none. Forces you to work weaknesses, get out of comfort zones.
Sparring.
Integrates everything. Mimics amateur rules. Practice in a cagering replica helps too learn to use the environment.
And in full sparring, the focus is winning. Using your best strategy.
Exactly. Fight where you're dominant. Striker. Keep it standing. Defend takedowns. Clinch fighter. Get close. Dirty docks. Knee. Grappler. Takedown. Top position. Ground and pound or sub.
The art is keeping the fight in your zone.
That's the art of MMA, according to the book. Victory can come from any range, striking, clinch, or ground, even flying subs.
If opponents are equal skill.
Striking might be less tiring, but realistically, well-matched fights often go to the guy with better stamina. So pressure them, make them react, tire them out, take initiative.
Okay, sparring chapter. Equipment first.
16-ounce gloves recommended for training safety. Headgear, mouth guard, shin guards, cup the essentials.
Then the isolated sparring types again.
Striking, boxing or kickboxing focus. Upright wrestling, clinch, throws. Ground grappling, position subs. Striking in the clinch, knees, elbows.
Let's break down the grappling sparring.
Yeah.
Upright clinch wrestling.
Focus is throws to the mat, then getting top position immediately. Who ends on top matters most. Any top spot is good parterre, guard top, side mount, full mount. Just don't throw them onto your back.
Stand-up wrestling sparring.
More traditional takedowns. Get them down, ideally on their back. Rules might vary slightly on what counts as down.
Greco-Roman.
No leg grabs. All upper body throws and holds.
Judo sparring.
Emphasizes throws, top control pins. Subs are there, but maybe less focused than BJJ. They mention Nuwaza, Randori, ground sparring, and judo.
And ground grappling BJJ sparring.
Starts on the ground, stays there mostly. Goal is submission, usually. But for MMA training, also focus on getting dominant positions, very like BJJ sparring. Top position means you're winning the spar.
BJJ focus.
Guard work, playing and passing, sweeps, submissions. Competitions have points. MMA uses BJJ principles for ground game development.
Striking sparring. Boxing versus MMA kickboxing. Differences.
Boxing, sparring forces, good hands, head movement, footwork. Great for before-after clinch range. Dirty boxing is using clinch grips while punching. Caution. Don't duck too low leaves you open for knees in MMA.
MMA kickboxing, Muay Thai sparring.
The striking equivalent of upright grappling. Can still win with a quick takedown control or sub, reflecting MMA. Head bending rule might be relaxed, slightly gentle knees to head from clinch okay to show dominance.
How does it usually start?
Far apart, like a real fight. Focus is standing work, need protective gear. Practice effective kicks, knees, punches, elbows. Strategy, getting outstruck. go for takedown, dominating striking, defend takedowns. Also mentions crowd appeal standing fights are often seen as more exciting. Spectacular moves help.
They have specific drills, too. Grappler versus wrestler, striker versus thrower.
Yeah, grappler versus wrestler. Standing start, takedown battle. Goal, get partner down, hands, knees, hips, back, turtle loss. Teaches getting up fast. Double overhook clinch knee drills too. Striker versus thrower. Forces defense against your weakness. Using your strength. Learn how to deal with different styles.
Mixed drills.
Combining things. Strike, then shoot for a takedown, for example.
And the guarding chapter ends talking about submissions, scoring the tap out.
Just lists examples from different positions. Flying armbar choke, standing, knee bar, top guard, triangle, armbar, omoplata, bottom guard, RNC back, leg triangle, side mount, Americana, wrist lock, side mount. Shows the variety of finishes.
Okay, final section. Competition. Amateur versus pro.
Way more amateurs, less spotlight. Amateur rules usually stricter on safety. Might fight multiple times in one day. Conditioning is huge. KOs may be harder. Judges look for clean technique. Book says, start amateur, build a base.
And get experience outside MMA, too.
Absolutely. Compete in wrestling, grappling, judo, BJJ, submission grappling. Compete in striking, amateur boxing, Muay Thai, TKD, karate, kickboxing. Learn the rules for each.
Mixed martial arts means mix it up.
Exactly. Even fencing or kendo might offer insights. Compete often in amateur MMA itself.
Pacing in a real competition just as important.
Critical. Starts before the fight diet, sleep, training, a mental prep. It's personal, trial and error. Coach helps, but athlete knows best.
Why do good gym fighters sometimes fail in competition?
Poor prep for the intensity unfamiliar opponent. Serious stakes. Some guys feel out round one, then go harding round two. Book says maybe not the best idea.
Better to set the pace yourself.
Yeah, try to take initiative from the start, make them play your game. Takes maybe 15 seconds to establish pace. If you lead, you worry less about their rhythm.
If both are rhythm masters.
Goes to stamina, conditioning, conditioning, conditioning. An out-of-shape champ is vulnerable to a well-conditioned amateur.
And after the fight, win or lose.
Thank sponsors, opponent, organizers, smile, then rest, recover, talk to your coach, see a doctor if needed, learn from it.
Wow. Okay, that covers a massive amount of ground. From ancient Greece to modern strategy, all from this one book's perspective around 2009.
It really does. History, techniques, training, tactics, the whole package. Key takeaways seem to be that mixed nature, the importance of foundations like wrestling and striking, the strategy in the clinch and on the ground.
And that rhythm and pacing thing, that was fascinating.
Definitely. And realizing these ideas aren't always brand new, they have deep historical roots.
So hopefully everyone listening feels like they've got a much clearer picture of MMA, at least as presented here, the essential building blocks.
Yeah, a solid framework. And maybe it sparks a thought. How do these MMA principles, blending skills, rhythm, timing, adapting strategy, how might they apply elsewhere in life? In your job, your hobbies?
Interesting angle. Using diverse tools, finding the right timing, staying conditioned.
Exactly. Or maybe this dive just made you curious to check out, I don't know, a local judo club or boxing gym that caught your interest.
Something to think about. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.